Hey, welcome to Weird Wednesday. We're a little late today. Up in Ohio, we're getting our butt kicked with a blizzard in Butler County. But we're glad to see that everybody is still around. We didn't have the end of the world. So welcome back to Baloney Brain. I'm John House, or Used Toy, and Daryl House, otherwise known as Suburban Hobo. How was your Christmas?
Oh, it was lovely. Yesterday we had an open house, and we had about 60 or 70 friends and family stop over for cocktails and hors d'oeuvres and just relax and watched some sports and just lots of conversation, good eats, good drinks. It was a good time. I mean, of course, it's 80 down here. What's it, 30 I hear up there where you are? Yeah, 80 degrees.
Times are tough. I hear you.
Well, I tell everybody I'm a Buckeye by birth and a Floridian by choice. Works for me down here.
Well, we'll get right to Weird Wednesday, and
Okay.
I wanted to start with something that is it is so disgusting I even have trouble reading it. Huffington Post did a thing on the top 10 weird stories of 2012. So this isn't a recent story, but a chef serves his own genitals.
Oh, now are you really certain that you want to go there?
Japanese chef Mao Sugiyama,
Sushi, what?
a self-described asexual from Tokyo, cooked and served his own genitalia to 5 diners at a swanky $250 a plate banquet in May. Sugiyama's penis shaft, testes, and scrotum were garnished with button mushrooms and Italian parsley.
Sometimes I think I'm speechless now. I would pay $250 not to have to hear this story.
Oh.
I'm going to throw up. That's just.
I read it and I couldn't even read it to my wife. I had to make her read it on her own. So what a way to get things started. All right,
yeah. Well, you know
it's your turn.
Well, let's go to Dateline New York. Start spreading the news. You know, it's funny the things that make the news and that are weird in their own weird way. Paul Brown, which is a name everybody in Cincinnati knows, he's the deputy New York Police Department commissioner. And he told reporters, now this goes back to November. This goes back a month or so, but this was such an interesting story. It's weird in its own way. He told reporters in November that in the 24 hours of Monday, November 26th, there was not a single criminal shooting, stabbing, or slashing reported in the 5 New York boroughs. Brown said that no police official could remember such a day ever, and the city is on track to finish 2012, get this, with fewer than 400 homicides. Now, that compares to the record year of 1990 when 2,245 people were murdered. Now, that's out of the New York Daily News. I mean, I just think that's weird in its own way, but you know what? If they're bringing a little civility to New York and New Yorkers are starting to say, hey, you know what, I'm just going to turn the other cheek rather than just kill you, maybe it's a good thing, or maybe they turned the corner up there. Good going, New York. Proud of you all.
Yeah, sweet New York.
Weird in its own way.
Well, let's see. In Marine City, Michigan, Jason Festerman may be facing jail time after spraying his son in the face with a product called liquid ass. Now,
John, you're just shining me this week. I have nothing to compare.
I've actually seen this product at Spencer's. So his son apparently took it to school, was spraying it around, and got suspended. So when he went to pick him up, he sprayed it in the school. He said he was just testing to see if there was any left in the can, but apparently he wanted to leave an aromatic remembrance. So.
Testes in the can. This is a throwback to the first story. I honestly cannot compare. For some reason, my weird Wednesday thoughts were totally separate from what you're reading this week. My weird and your weird. opposite sides of the coin. So this is one that came out of California. Who they understand weird. I mean, that's the fruits and nuts out there anyway. But back in October, and this is PETA, who again the people for the ethical treatment of animals, and these are a bunch of wackos to begin with anyway.
Yeah, usually we have stories about unethical treatment of animals in the last few weeks.
Well, this one kind of played into that for me, but at least there's no sexual thing going on in this one today. They petitioned the urban California to create a roadside memorial for a truckload of live fish that perished in a recent traffic accident. Now, this is what really hooked me. This is what. They say that fish, like humans, use tools, tell time, sing, and have long-term memories. Now, I don't know how they know all of that. I mean, how do you know if a fish has a long-term memory? What kind of tools? Would you hand me that hammerhead shark over there? I mean, what is that about? But anyhow, Peter wrote that in support of their petition that they use tools, tell time, sing, and have long-term memory. But on the other hand, the traffic casualty that day that caused the death of all these fish, they were en route to the urban ranch market to be sold as food.
Wow.
So they want to have a memorial for these fish that were going to end up as sushi to begin with. But they all ended up in an accident and I guess splashed across the highway. It's sad but weird.
Yeah, well, kind of connected to my last story. Social Security Administration employee was formally reprimanded earlier this month for excessive workplace flatulence. A 38-year-old who worked out of the Baltimore office, a 5-page formal reprimand with 17 dates and 60 specific times for passing gas.
Is there a scale of what is over the top and what's acceptable?
Does Human Resources keep track of this? Oh, wait, I've got to let the Human Resources office know that employee X has passed gas.
He's farting.
How would you know it's him and not the other guy? I mean, really, because we've all done that. Oh, it's him.
Yeah, actually, my daughters, when they were little, Emily and Jessica, Emily one day she's ratted out Jessica on everything she ever did in her life to begin with, and we were all sitting at the table with my mother and father, your grandparents, and Emily looks at us and she says, "Jessica farted." Well, John, you know how much I love stupid criminals. This one, and it's a Florida story, as if you couldn't have figured that out. Let's go back up to Lakeland, where we've had several stories out of Lakeland lately. But this guy, what's his name? Patrick Townsend. He's 30 years old. In Lakeland, Florida, he was arrested for drug possession. He proceeded to confess into the detective's digital recorder. He said, "Yeah, it was me. I got it. I started. I did it." So later on, Townsend, he managed to get hold of the unattended recorder from a table, and then he took a restroom break and he flushed it down the toilet. I thought that was great. So then just to make matters worse, he goes to the detective, and this is a quote in the article I read. He says, "Tighten up on your job, homie."
Wow.
So later on, it appears that they added destroying evidence to the other charges against him. Tighten up on your job, homie. If I had been the detective, I think that's one of those circumstances where you could understand a little police brutality, homie. Well, listen, I got one I want to finish up with. This probably should go into Feel Good Friday. If y'all haven't joined us on Feel Good Friday, I try to do something uplifting, spiritual to lead into the weekend. But this was kind of an interesting story. There's a high school in Kentucky, in Lexington, Paul Laurence Dunbar High School, where the mascot for the high school team. Actually, they brought him up to be the team's quarterback. He was normally dressed as a bulldog, but he got the game. He threw 2 touchdown passes and won the game for him 22-19. So that was the initial story. The second story that went along with that in the feel good says also in October, South Plantation High School. That's where my daughters Emily and Jessica graduated. South Plantation High School have a third-string quarterback, Ms. Erin DiMeglio, and she was voted the school's homecoming queen. In her first game this season, she came off the bench in a brief stint, completed 2 passes. They did lose the game, but I thought it was wonderful that they, gave a beautiful young lady an opportunity to compete, even with the boys. She completed her passes. She won homecoming queen, and it was all the Paladins at mighty, mighty South Plantation High School. So I'm just proud of that story. Check us out on Friday for Feel Good Friday. If you haven't seen it in the past, it's up every Friday. So that I'm out of material this week, John. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Hope everybody had a wonderful Merry Christmas, and tune in to see us on Baloney Brain. Daryl, good to see you.
Likewise.